lots have happened once again where you see this seems to be the season where Jerry Dipoto and Justin Hollander make these surprising moves, and they made another surprising move once again. We're going to talk about the trade with Gregory. It was for Gregory Santos. I should know that by now. Well, guy from Dominican Republic, so maybe him and Julio Rodriguez could be that connection thing, where that trade was to pretty much replace Justin Topa, if not hopefully better. It was Saturday where the Mariners made that trade for George Santos, and unfortunately, I saw everyone else making videos. I saw Trident making a video, Couch made a video, Mojo made a video, and for me, I just looked at it on my phone because I didn't have anywhere to shoot myself or film myself, shoot myself. I didn't have anywhere to film myself because hashtag and fill it in the chats.
Don't quit the day job.
Yes, do not quit the day job. So that's what it was. So that's why I couldn't even fart a video out, just like what Trident does. So that's great. So
Gregory Santos for Prelander Baroa, Zach DeLoach, and then the 69th pick or 68th, I'm not sure, in the upcoming
69th.
draft.
It was the 69th pick.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Prelander, the way I thought it was, I guess the Mariners just didn't want to wait on Prelander Baroa. He seemed like, because when we saw him last year, the man, he just seemed very raw. You could just see it. It was in that Twins series where the way he pitched, it was like, yeah, this guy's just not ready because he only has 2 pitches and he has 1 underdeveloped pitch. So I guess the Mariners just didn't want to wait. And I think deep down, Jerry Dipoto and Justin Hollander wants to see winners. They don't want to just wait and wait, which is why they were willing to bite the bullet to get Polanco from last week. Now, to get an idea of who we gave up other than Polanco, they also gave up Zach DeLoach. Now, he is 24 years old. He's a power hitter. But to make you feel better, because the Mariners did get rid of a power-hitting minor leaguer. He had 23 home runs and 88 RBIs last year in Tacoma. But here's the catch. 173 strikeouts. And he did that in just 138 games. Imagine if he played a 150-game season, easily a 200, basically possibly another Teoscar, especially if he's striking out that much in the minor leagues and in AAA. And typically when you see a prospect in the AAA, they're possibly just MLB rejects, unfortunately, or they're just rehabbing. So you're either one of those two guys. Now, Gregory Santos, when I looked at his baseball savant, Gregory Santos has a slider that he uses quite a bit, and also a fastball that goes up to 99 miles an hour, and a changeup that he does use quite sparingly. So he's going to be a fastball / slider. He's going to be a part of that, I guess, that big 3 that everyone else is hyping him out to be, where he will be with Matt Brash, Andres Munoz, and Gregory Santos. Any thoughts on that trade for yourself, Jay Trident Podcast?
Yeah, I honestly, the more I've kind of come away from it, the further we've gotten away from it, the more I actually like it. Santos is under club control if you want him till 2029. I look at Prelander Baroa and I'm like, best case scenario for Prelander would be to be Santos. And that's not even like, oh, I think he can become that. That would be like the 100th percentile outcomes for Prelander Baroa. The odds of him becoming as good as Santos are slim. So you've already gotten better. And it's not like Santos is only under contract for 1 year where it's like, well, you're giving up 5 years of a guy for 1. Anything can happen, but I'll take Santos over Baroa. DeLoach is kind of interesting, but like you pointed out, the strikeouts, I don't see DeLoach being more than like at best a 100 WRC plus guy. He may hit a little bit in Chicago because it's a hitter's park, but I don't see him being much more than a platoon outfielder, platoon DH. We didn't have to give any of the major prospects in the draft pick. Draft pick might be the most valuable piece in there, but we don't know who that's going to be. And the earliest that person would make a jump to the big leagues would be like 26, 27. So Baroa, fine, you're better. Santos is better. And DeLoach, could be somebody. I'll never dismiss a player, but I mean, Santos is just insane. Barrel rate in the 100th percentile, as you saw on Savant. Funny enough, the one barrel he gave up last year, I believe, was to Eugenio Suarez on a base hit, oddly enough.
Very
So there's
oddly.
that. Doesn't walk anybody, keeps the ball on the ground, gets swings and misses, gets people to chase. I mean, just this bullpen now, 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. Brash, Munoz, Santos, or whatever order you want to put it in, is just ridiculous. And the nice thing is, too, this kind of pushes everybody else back a little bit. Now Spire can be used on the tough lefties. You've got Trent Thornton or Carlos Vargas. Saucedo as well, exactly. Thornton can come in the 5th or 6th inning if he needed to. And also, now that you've got 3 legitimate weapons, if you've got a starter that gets into a jam in the 5th inning and just doesn't have it, let's say you're up 2-0 in the 5th, they load the bases, they just don't have it, they've lost command. Well, now you can bring in Brash, Munoz, or Santos in the 5th to get out of that jam, because you've got the other 2 that can pitch later innings. So it just really just opens up a whole bunch in that bullpen. And we talked about that a little bit last week. Love the Polanco trade, but it did kind of make us go, the pen is thinning out a little bit here.
Where's Topa's gone? Yeah. Because Topa,
they've lost Topa, Sewald, Swanson.
He has 4 different pitches, which I really miss. He has a fastball that goes up to the 95. He's got a slider or cutter, but I guess if you have the personality of Greg Santos, I mean, when you look at that guy, he looks like a mean man. I think maybe he should go for closer. And if I were Scott Service and Jerry DiPoto and Justin Hollander, maybe put these 3 in a cage match, and winner gets closer spot. Fight to the death. Fight.
Yeah,
let's have him fight.
I mean,
for
you could legitimately put Santos in the 9th inning if you wanted to do that. But now this bullpen that we were a little bit like, I like the back end, but now there's some question marks. Now you've got a bullpen that is just, I mean, you got 3 lights out arms at the back end.
Yeah, you got Matt Brash, Munoz, and Santos. Like, that's something that Mariners didn't necessarily have last year, and it especially showed after they got rid of Paul Sewald, unfortunately. And hopefully with a more healthy Munoz, he won't be as what he was last year, because we can all agree that 2023 Munoz was a lot different than 2022 Munoz. Like, they were 2 different guys. Matt Brash has came a long way, and he actually developed into arguably the best pitcher in the bullpen for the Mariners. And now that you have Gregory Santos, who has a big personality. Now, before we all get too excited, don't forget, Gregory Santos, that was only his first full season in Major League Baseball. So it is a very small sample size, in my opinion, but he is 24 years old. So we will see, and hopefully it will work out. I just want Scott to just choose the right closer, and I would say leave out Munoz. He's more of a setup and mid relief guy. Brash or Gregory Santos, I think, should be the ones to fight it out. As much as Munoz has that crazy fastball, his splitter was just not there last season, and it really showed because of those injuries. But even without the injuries, in a clutch factor, I would put in Matt Brash or Gregory Santos for the closer, and let's for that. And also, don't forget whoever Jerry DiPoto and Justin Hollander, whoever they pick up from the streets, they at least one of them turns out into something. Like, let's not forget Paul Sewald and Kendall Graveman. At one point, they were just jokester pickups. They're like, who are those guys? Oh, look at their numbers. Oh, they're a bunch of jokes. They're going to amount to nothing. And look what they turned into. If only the Mariners flipped them a little bit better.
And one other thing I'll add too that I love about Santos, and really all the main relievers of Mariners bullpen, Santos gave up 2 home runs last year. So you've now got Munoz, Brash, and Santos. None of them give up home runs. Of course, I say that they're all going to give up. They're each going to give up a home run opening day.
I'm going to go right back to this video.
You know what? It'll be a great clip. So make sure to remember this when that happens. But
okay, I'm going to mark it at 14:31.
They're both going to give up 3 home runs each opening day. but you know what I mean? It's just these are guys that you in order to beat them, and I'm with you on Munoz. Last year wasn't quite as good. Still a good pitcher, but not 2022 good. And you're right on Santos too. That was his first full season in the bigs. Relievers are volatile. I say it all the time. You never know year to year. But if you can get these guys at what they were last year, I mean, they're not giving up home runs. They're striking guys out. Santos doesn't walk anybody. I mean, he gets the ball on the ground. I don't know if I said that or not, but like it's hard. If you're going to beat him, you're going to have to paper cut him to death. It's going to have to be like April Matt Brash, where every little blooper just fell in on him, which can happen. But the odds are long term that's going to work out pretty good. So, and I mean, to go along with the starting pitching staff, I'm excited about the bullpen now. Like, I'm
Bullpen is
legitimately pumped.
absolutely exciting for sure. And I'm looking at the numbers between the pitchers and the bullpen. Munoz only gave up a total of 2 home runs. Now, granted, he was only in 52 appearances compared to Matt Brash's 78. And in Matt Brash's 78 appearances, he only gave up 3 home runs. And the pitcher who did it worse were these two guys. Paul Sewald, who gave up 5 home runs in 45 games, and Gabe Spire gave up 7 in 69 games. And I guess now we know why we got rid of Paul Sewald. I guess because that they were scared of those home run numbers. And unfortunately, as much as I love Paul Sewald, he's a great guy. He was really fun to listen to when he was calling out the Mariners ownership. He did give up that home run against Texas Rangers in the World Series. That was Paul Sewald, unfortunately. So
yeah, I think with Paul, he's just a guy that he doesn't come at you at 100. And I love Paul Sewald to death. So he's going to be more susceptible. Same with Spire. You know, they're kind of fly ball guys that don't throw super hard, so their location's more important. What's nice with Santos, Brash, and Munoz is, and I'm not knocking, I love Gabe Spire, love Paul Sewald, so I'm not knocking them at all. But what makes these guys so special is they can be a little bit off their game, and they can still get, even like Munoz, second half of last year, he did not look the same as 2022. But
not even close.
And despite a couple hiccups, like he still got through it pretty much because his stuff is so good that it still allowed him to get outs and be a productive reliever. Not 2022 level, but still good enough because, like I said, with him, Brash, and and now Santos, their stuff is so electric that they can be off a little bit and they can be fine. Sewald was a guy that, if he wasn't hitting the corners, the home runs, he was susceptible a little bit to them and stuff. So that's not a knock on Paul. Now you've got 3 guys that are just bringing the heat.
They don't give up home runs, but they just got to find a way to prevent the bloopers. That's what they just got to prevent.
Yeah. And those just sometimes they fall in, sometimes they don't. If give up weak contact and over the course of a year, you'll be fine. Like Brash struggled with that in April and May. It just kind of worked itself out because eventually those bloopers are going to hang up there and people are going to catch them, or, it is what it is. So I'm excited.
I am excited too. And it takes me a long time to say it because I am the biggest hater in the Mariners bullpen. Like, I'm not going to lie. I always am super critical. And I do blame it on the fact that Mariners have historically had terrible bullpens going back to the 90s. So maybe I looked too much into 1997 and 1998 too much. And 2022 playoffs did not help either. But hopefully this bullpen will get it together. The talent is there. Never question their talent. It's just a matter of, can they finish off these games? And most importantly, can Scott Service use the bullpen better? Like, I don't want to see this whole, he strikes out one guy to end the inning and go, oh, next guy. Here you go. Like, I don't like that, where he just keeps shuffling pitchers, because if someone has the hot hand, you stay with that hot hand. But look at me. I'm just some guy screaming at a microphone with a Darth Vader in my background. So what am I to say? But just based on observation, I just hope that with the talented bullpen he has, I just hope Service does bullpen manage better. And nothing we can do about the whole load management. No one's going to change that, because literally everyone does that. And we remember from Jeff Fassero that it's a regular thing. It's a regular practice, unfortunately. So